You got questions. We got answers. Welcome to Codename Goodgame, the show that we speculate the games that we love and the industry surrounding them. And boy, it has been a week of game reveals, sort of, vanilla version, I'll say. Some new insights, some interviews, some release dates, and just Twitter being a storm this week. And I've been on a trip, and I was looking forward to Gamescom, but the thing I was looking forward to most of all is chatting about it all with you guys. But I didn't want to be alone for this episode. I almost did, but I thought, who could I bring on to kind of just back and forth with me? And it's somebody that has never been on this channel, and I always say has the Morgan Freeman bedtime voice of just absolute, I don't know. I think it's just milky chocolate. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the one and only Mr. Nick from the Friday Night Gamescast. Is it Friday Night Gamecast or a Friday Night
Gamecast? No
Gamecast.
plural.
Yeah,
just
Gamecast.
Gamecast.
Just
yeah,
Gamecast.
right.
Yeah. Well, we're both on screen, sir. Welcome to the channel. I was just thinking of that. Like, you've never been on before. I've been on your podcast, but this is your first time here.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Tony, I'm so excited to be here with you today. I've listened to you for quite some time now, probably like over a year, maybe even more than that. And I've just like everything that you've done. I think is incredible. 10 out of 10. And I love being part of your streams, a part of your lives. Your YouTube channel is awesome. The speculation that you do and just the theory crafting, all of it's 10 out of 10, even the anime work that you've put in so far. So I'm incredibly happy to be here. So grateful. So thank you for having me.
Dude, thank you for being here and thank you for the praise. And I'm telling you, man, so shout out. Oh my goodness. I did a doopsie because this was all like working in progress and everything. But guys, please, they got a Twitter handle. I need to, this is why I need a moderator, because I admit I forgot to link you in my description. So please Google Friday Night Gamecast. Mm-hmm. And Nick is also on Twitter. If you go to my Twitter, I tagged him. So please go there to my Twitter and you'll see him. It's in my pinned thing. But yeah, man, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Before we get into this.
Hit me.
Because you and I are friends on Xbox.
That's right.
We still barely played jack shit. We haven't done our Halo Infinite co-op. We haven't done anything. But I saw you were on Crunchyroll the other night.
Yeah.
What are you perusing into currently?
Oh my gosh, that's embarrassing. I didn't know you could see me on Crunchyroll. That's incredible though. No, I love it. I have been finishing Frieren Beyond Journey's End.
Dude, let's go. It is so fantastic.
I don't know if this was adapted from a light novel or if it started off just simply as a manga, but this is without a doubt one of the best written shows I have ever seen. Best written anime I've ever experienced. It's like wistful, it's nostalgic, it's sad, it's really funny sometimes, and all of the characters are just brilliantly done. So it's like, yeah, I've been watching that and it's great. I also
they're authentic. Everything about it, like everybody, there's a moment that like there's just epic moments that people just don't even react, and I'm like, okay, you could react a little bit. But they don't do all the tropes, and that just makes it all feel so different from everything too. I love it. Sorry, what were you gonna say though?
I mean, I was just saying that like I was watching that, and then obviously I've been enjoying Kaiju number 8. I finished that a while back too. And then like the most recent season of Demon Slayer, which was all right. It was all right. It had some cool stuff in there.
I haven't seen it yet, but that's what I hear too. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. I don't know. It's good because, as you said, I used to be like a co-parent to anime and games on this channel, and now I've kind of just I have two separate channels to do that. So it's always nice when I have a fellow anime person here. And when I knew that you were coming on, I saw you on Crunchyroll. I'm like, I just want to know what he's watching, really. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know if you've heard of Kimi ni Todoke, but that came back to Netflix. It's a show that like, it's a rom-com that's like, it ended 11 or 12 years ago, and they brought it back but it's not like super mainstream like Fruits Basket or anything is.
Oh,
and
okay.
it's a cutesy rom-com. You listed a bunch of manly stuff. I'm listing something like fluffy duffy.
Hey, I like
But-
Fruit Baskets. I think the newest Fruit Baskets
Basket's
has
fantastic.
Laura Bailey, right? She did the voice of Kagame.
She did the
is that her
original,
name?
and they basically got all the voice talent back. All these
Which is
years later.
incredible. Yeah,
It's
so I rock with
exactly,
it.
and that's kind of what they do with this Kimi to Doke thing too. They got
Yeah.
all the. It's cool. Anyways, yeah. And chat, like, thank you very much for being here. I already see. I'm managing a lot here. We were just talking about before the stream, by the way. Like, I need a moderator. I need somebody like directing my show. But yeah, shout out to Supertone, Ghost Fixer, Steffi, Paragon. Guys, thank you very much for being here. Paragon says, I'm just waiting for Gundam to announce when Urdur Hunt releases. Nick, do you know what that is? I have no idea.
For
what that is.
Gundam? He said
For
Gundam
Gundam.
to announce something?
All I know is that I just love the one that's like, this hand of mine is burning red. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't. I've
Damn
never
it.
seen
Oh,
that before.
burning
I've
fig.
never
Somebody
seen
better
that.
know what that is in the chat.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah, and as we dive into it, there's like, we're gonna talk about a lot of Gamescom this week. But I almost forgot to do something too. And chat, please let me know like how audio is, because I know the past 3 episodes I've been trying to figure that out. I believe now it should just be my voice and Nick's voice, and there's no moments where my level gets higher, but please let me know if somebody's voice is too loud or quiet or anything. But something I integrated in the last episode before we get into the tons of stuff to talk about over Gamescom, like opening night live, but also if we've seen any interviews or updates or release dates on things that happen maybe outside of opening night live, and just one news piece story, because I need to talk about, and we need to talk about, the craziness of Wukong as a community and with me and Nick. But Nick, is there any like maybe something this week that you kind of just want to shout out, that like, whether if there's nothing news wise, it's just like maybe something you're playing, or maybe there is a piece of news or something that maybe we might not hit, you think, that maybe doesn't have to do with Gamescom. It's kind of I call it my like little honorable mention of the week or something before we dive into it. Also,
Honorable
hello,
mention.
world-renowned GeoHound. I love that you're here, man. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Honorable mentions. That's a good one. There's a couple of things that I could go for, but I'm gonna be a little bit underhanded. I want to give a big round of applause for Firewalk Studios for their stellar launch with Concord, having 500
That is a good
like
shout out.
56 concurrent players. What's going on, Tony?
Wait, how many?
What are they doing?
How many?
Yeah, they had like 500 like people on Steam.
Damn.
It was bad.
Damn.
It's not good.
Whoa, that's a good shout out. Like, I didn't even think of
Yeah.
that. That's a really good shout out. Like, I think I did
Yeah.
see somebody tweet that, and it's like, did anybody know that Concord came out today?
Well, I feel like the
Wow.
media has been talking, like the mainstream media has been talking about it for, like weeks and weeks now. Everybody, every other week has, like, everyone who had the, early access to the beta has been playing it, and it came out to middling reviews, right? And then now, we're
Have you seen
sitting
any
here-
reviews for it?
Not any proper reviews, not any full reviews. I've listened
Yeah,
to some
I
people
wanna check
online
that
being
out.
like, "Oh, this is what I think so far," but it's nothing different from what they said from their early impressions. They said that like the map design is kind of mediocre at best, and there's nothing about the characters, the powers that does anything different from Overwatch in a way that like moves the needle for the 5v5 team burrito shooter genre. So, yeah, that's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good shout out. My shout out is and maybe like I'm gonna bring this up because of this game got announced 3 months ago, but I guess they got the release date at Gamescom, but not an opening night live and not necessarily part of the show. I think it's just part of the pluffer, so maybe it could wait till later. But I just want to shout out a little game that could, called where the heck is it? Akimbot. And if anybody in the chat knows this besides my patrons, because I plugged it into my patrons, I'm like, is anybody's Ratchet and Clank, inappropriate language here, but tent, if you will, getting kind of catered here because it's, I don't know, if you look up this game, Akimbot, it comes out, I guess, next Thursday, and it just looks like a freaking good time. Again, when I figure out all this, I'm going to try to figure out ways that I can just have B-roll on the screen so you could just see it playing. But I'm telling you right now, man, like if you look at the trailer for it, it just looks like a Ratchet and Clank game. And that's what I mean. I'm like, what the hell is this?
That's all I need to know about it to see it. I'm looking at the art right now, and the art's really cool.
It looks, if you see a gameplay of it, it looks really good. And I'm like, and I guess they just revealed it 3 months ago too, so maybe that's why I didn't know about it. And
right,
I don't know, like it's adding to the craziness of what it will be September, because September we already there's a lot in September. What's everybody's most anticipated September game? Because Akimbot, I'm kind of wanting to get that, and then there's Astrobot, and I'm getting Plucky Squire. Those are my two for sure: Astrobot and probably Plucky Squire. But I'm considering Warhammer Space Marine 2, and there was another one Age of Mythology, and I feel like there was something else too. But Nick, I don't know if you have anything you're looking forward to in September.
Our Age of Mythology. I mean, Warhammer 40K is like the one, right? That's the one that everybody's just been hyped for this entire year. All of the footage, and you know that Focusrite Interactive is confident about that product because they've been doing nothing but giving us like the 4K ultra high res screenshots, and then obviously you're seeing nothing but like gameplay trailers and reviews. So like they know they have the juice, they have the sauce of what it's going to take to put out a good Warhammer game. And I mean, like there have been good Warhammer games in the past, and like some of the other like it's like the extraction shooters that they put out, I can't remember some of the names of them before, but those were pretty well received for the folks who actually played them. They just didn't have the acclaim or the hype that Space Marine does. So there's
what I remembered?
What's that?
Zelda Echoes of Wisdom comes out the very end of the month.
This year is insane.
September's wild, dude.
Like we
September
had nothing.
October.
We were in a drought. I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3, this entire summer, and then nothing has come out, and then they just want to backload us.
I'm still not done with Tears of the Kingdom.
No, are you ever gonna finish that, Tony?
I don't think I will. I don't think I ever will. Like it's
okay.
just always gonna be there. But that's a nice thing. It's like I got a friend that's like, I'm never gonna finish that show because if I do, then it's over.
Right. No, the thing about Tears that's different from Breath of the Wild is that if you do like, I don't know if this is something you even would want to consider, is that if you just kind of put off a lot of the main stuff, if you've checked a lot of the boxes of these side quests, you can golden path that game fairly quickly.
Oh, like I could already golden path it. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm like, but that's what I mean. It's like when the credits roll, I want that to be the end of the game, and that's why it's taking me so long.
Yeah.
It's because like I don't want the game to be over until I feel like I've been everywhere and done everything I want to do, and that game there's so freaking much.
You'll never finish it.
Exactly. Okay, so one message from the chat really quick, and then we should dive into our stuff. But world-renowned Geo, which, by the way, Nick's here to be kind of my person to banter off of with, but, like, this is also a community chat. I want you to be a part of this show. Like, this is our community get-together every Friday. Like, that's another point of this, is to be able to interact with you guys more, so you are part of this. So please, like, at me, or you are welcome to super chat, but do not feel like you have to, whatever. But world renowned, I'm just gonna get out of the way. I freaking called it. Avowed looks like a cheap, embarrassing garbage. It's okay if you disagree. Sorry, but that new gameplay was the opposite of engaging. Dude, that's some intense words.
That's a hot take right there. I haven't seen the new gameplay. I liked what they had shown at ID at Xbox earlier this year. So I'm surprised that whatever world renowned is looking at it doesn't look hot. Doesn't look good.
Yeah. I think it looks like it. I think it looks cool. I don't like. It's not. It's just. It doesn't seem like it's a me game because one, fantasies, it's hard to hit me, and two, RPGs, it's hard to hit me. So this is a game that's going to be hard to hit my personal taste. And Patrick Cervicans, I'm not sure. I wound up accidentally walking into plot when playing Tears of the Kingdom until I beat it. Wait, you accidentally walked into plot. What does that mean, Patrick?
Just accidentally stumbled onto the story, the main story of the game. I'm guessing.
I've heard many people very accidentally walk into the final boss. I've heard that many times.
I had a friend of mine play Tears, and they were working. They literally did nothing. They did nothing of the main quest. They just went from shrine to shrine in the overworld and in the, spoiler alert, Underdark of that game. And then in the skies, they did nothing else. They just completed the shrines and they're like, yeah, I beat the game. I was like, what are you talking about? You didn't do anything.
That's what I mean.
Talking about?
You could beat it whenever you want,
Yeah.
it'll probably take you like 30 hours, but yeah. For instance, I almost have all my inventory maxed out in that game with the Korok seeds and stuff, and I've only seen like just over half the map. That's how much I zigzag in this. Like that says something. But
Have
anyway,
you made any crazy contraptions? I don't want to decide.
No, I need to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. I need to because I do want to build some fun stuff. But yeah, we'll see. Folks, if you would like to have like for September or whatever, if you want to be able to do for a topic, submit, hey, what are the 10 most anticipated games left of 2024? You could always pay attention to the community tab and submit that as a topic for these shows. Or if you feel like doing it one-on-one with me live, then head over to Patreon where you support the show and everything else I do, including my anime channel. And I just appreciate all y'all for being here. Special shout out to high-tier patrons like Capone, Steffi, Air Ninja, Fox, Joey Strike, and Madsen. Guys, thank you very much for being high-tier people. I appreciate that. But let's get into really what is just one news story, and then we're just going to kind of dive into Gamescom, talk about the highlights and stuff, and then that big piece of news that just kind of took over everything on Twitter, I would say. So, I don't know how long ago, but we got this game announced that was based off of what is the legendary Dragon Ball series was also based off of. And that is this game called Black Myth Wukong.
That's right.
And people gravitated to it because it just looked like a visual spectacle. Maybe, oh, that's a cool story or whatever reason. And I never knew how successful this game would be. And I think a lot of people weren't sure. It's just one of those games that was always on the radar, but we had no idea. But what ended up happening is truly something magical. Because we thought Elden Ring was a crazy success. And even this year, we've had some crazy success stories with like Pal World and Helldivers 2. But folks, freaking Black Myth Wukong had a peak player count on Steam of 2.4 million as of yesterday. It's been updating so far all the time. It was like 1.7, then it was 2, then it was 2.3. Now apparently the all-time peak is 2.4 million on at once, which, by the way, that is now the second highest peak ever on Steam. Ever.
Yeah.
The only thing that's above that is PUBG Battlegrounds, which blows my mind, by the way. Oh my goodness. I thought it was going to be like Counter-Strike 2 or something, whatever. But Black Myth Wukong being the second highest peak of all time on Steam, I think that is something worth talking about, because how did that happen? And what are the ripple effects of it? Because if you didn't know, this game was produced, reportedly, for like $50 million. Let's keep that fact in mind, one. If that is true, it's reportedly. But if it was produced for $50 million, let's hypothetically think that. Factor number two. Apparently, data analyzers or whatever say that of that, 2 million people, whatever, that are playing on Steam, we're not even considering how many people are on PlayStation 5, which is another factor. There's so many factors. But of all the people on Steam, apparently 88% of them were China players or from China.
Yeah.
And that's another big factor. So, Nick and the chat, I ask, first off, what do you think could have caused this? Do you think, maybe off the top of your head, what do you think maybe how this happened, but also is China a big factor, or do people just love the story of I forget, of the West or whatever. Like, what
Right.
made this is the game that good?
Yeah.
Like, what's your initial reaction?
The Journey to the West is actually a pretty, this is a 500-year-old story. And it's one of the, most renowned and most acclaimed stories of like, the Chinese mythos as a whole. And, when you think about, foreign literature, it definitely leaves a staple. I heard about Journey to the West even before, as a kid, I watched Dragon Ball, right? So it's definitely, it is a cultural representation. And you would think that this is like something that the people, I think that most Chinese citizens are probably very proud of their nation and everything, and the rich history that they have dating back thousands of years before America was even a glimmer in the English's eye. So
Right.
it's one of those things where it's definitely like there's a lot of, I think, pride from China that's wrapped up in that, probably pushed the engagement of this game, coupled with the fact of the ongoing success that you see from Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erd Tree back to back. I think that Soulsborne players are everywhere. We see that everybody loves the Soulsborne genre now, and Elden Ring was kind of the key to break that open into the market. It's no longer a niche genre. Every other game studio now is trying to develop and produce a Souls-like that's going to make them money and allow them to have continued success in the future. And Black Myth is in that genre. It's loosely in that genre. From what I understand, it's very Souls light. It's more action oriented than it is.
Yeah, I
like
was gonna say more the Bayonetta feel or whatever, maybe, or something. Yeah,
but
I hear especially it's like a boss rush. But yeah.
Right. Yeah. Definitely boss rush, probably akin closer to like Stellar Blade, but borrowing some of the elements of what it's like, in that, hard, grueling combat design. I've heard people say that it's not quite as hard as like a Shadows of the Erd Tree.
Yeah.
So there's not that skill barrier that you see in a lot of the Soulsborne games.
Nick, I want to bring in like, so you brought up a good point about, how significant the story is about, what it's adapting. So Paragon brings this up in the live chat. Wukong is like the #1 mythological figure over there. So yeah, if we go by regions, Asia is like #1 at playing them probably. And also he says the separation between Western releases and Chinese releases is also big. There's normally a worldwide and Chinese release separated. So that's a good point. So like my idea with this is, because it's true. Like when we hear about Harry Potter last year, that was the most sold game. That's a Western thing. And, we saw the success of Elden Ring and how successful that was, like you mentioned. And even, like this year, we're talking about Helldivers 2 as like, it's not necessarily an indie game, but it is a totally not well-known IP that was developed by a smaller studio. But what's interesting, I think, is how this is kind of the ripple effect part, because I think you're right on a lot of factors as to how this could have happened. But I wonder, like, because if that's true, if usually China gets games later or whatever, what are the ripple effects of this? Because I think, like, when Xbox acquired Activision Blizzard, one of the first things they did is like, okay, Blizzard, you guys got to make up with China. Like, whatever happened over there, you guys got to make up with China. And this is kind of a key thing as to why. Like, there's so much potential over there. And if 88% of this now second highest peaked thing on Steam, just Steam, again, we don't know PlayStation 5 numbers, I don't think. Let me know if I'm wrong, chat, or Nick, or anybody. But, like, China's a big market, and I think not only are developers going to look at, try to figure out why is it so successful over there, but also this is going to be great for Chinese developers.
Yeah.
Because like this is it. We can actually like be on the radar now, and it doesn't have to just be Western IP releases. And I don't know, like I'm really excited about that potential future. And I think even Palworld, what was that? I want to say that was a Korean studio. I'm not sure, but I believe that was an Asian studio too. I could be wrong, but yeah.
Yeah, I think
Genshin Impact is another example, but like that's not China.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I don't know. Like I'm very curious about the ripple effects of this for both what the publishers do and the developer. What were you going to say?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I think it was Pocket Pair. I think they were Japanese dev behind. Power
okay.
World. But yeah, they did a couple of MMOs before that, and literally they did Craftopia, and then they built on that. But anyway, ripple effects of Black Myth Wukong. I think you're just going to see Game Science get a lot more money from the Chinese government because there's money to be made. And I think that when you see obviously the success of this, they're going to want to try and replicate it. They're going to want to try and maybe iterate upon it. And hopefully, obviously you'll see this rise of, maybe new Chinese development studios that are going to be propped up. Maybe they're going to be activist investors that are going to go through out there and allow these companies to maybe, leverage, Chinese culture and, dip into other aspects of Chinese mythology that might not be as popular as Wukong. I also think when you talk about ripple effects, you're probably going to see some Western developers maybe try and replicate the success of this as well.
Yeah. I wonder if it's mythology. I don't know. I guess we need to make a Bigfoot game.
I don't think I genuinely don't think it's mythology based.
Yeah.
I think it has more to do with the Anthem effect. You remember when everybody saw Anthem for the very first time? It was that CG trailer that was pre-rendered on like a PC, and it was like a trailer of the character jumping in the exosuit and flying around looking literally like Iron Man. It was the cleanest, most beautiful thing you had ever seen before, let alone anything to come out of BioWare. That's what I felt when I first saw Black Myth Wukong in a trailer. It was like 2020 or something like that. The first time I had ever laid eyes on it, it was a trailer that was just released on Twitter at that point in time. And I was looking at it, I was like, oh my gosh, we finally have somebody who understands the Souls-like genre, or the Soulsborne genre, in that will compete on the same level as FromSoft. And I think that coupled with obviously Chinese engagement kind of created a conflagration.
I have one more shout out here, and it's not even a shout out. It's more of a call out to like the whole industry. And if there's anything I hope the whole industry learns from this year, because this could really transition to big picture talk, but this is a year that the layoffs continued. I think it's even more than 2023 now and stuff. And one of those things we learned is like how expensive. We learned it last year too, but through Insomniac's leak, we've learned how expensive games are getting. And we look at what happened with Power World, and they're like, oh my God, we actually might start a franchise now or whatever, which is crazy because it's pretty basically Pokemon, but and Helldivers 2, like I know PlayStation backed them, but I don't think it was like a huge AAA project ?
They had a lot of funding for that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like if Black Myth Wukong was made for $50 million, which used to be what game budgets were, and it has this kind of success, I want the industry to learn that. Now, granted, it's been in development for a long time, but it's like I hope that's my ripple effect hope, is that like we don't need to have these huge teams or make something huge or whatever for it to be a success. We don't need it to be an open world thing and have all these side quests. Like we can just make a good experience. I don't know. That's what I hope for. What were you going to say, and that we can move?
Well, I hear what you're saying about that, and I get I think working within limitations, especially budgetary limitations, does breed creativity. You see it time and time again, and it allows people to make some of the most beautiful gaming experiences I've ever played in recent history. However, we don't know how much they're paying their devs over there. And I mean, who knows? And obviously Western developers who have experience, who are senior leaders, who are going to be recruitable, or moving around in the industry in general, they're going to have a high price tag for their salary on that labor portion. So I don't know how game, I'm not as I wish I was, but I'm not as familiar as how games are funded or how funds are distributed within firms. I just know that it probably would be infinitely more expensive to make Wukong in America than instead when it was made in China. So yeah, but I agree with you. It would be nice if we could get that down, and that would mean we get more games more often.
Yeah. That's what I hope.
Yeah.
Guys, what do you hope? Do you hope that Black Myth makes any kind of ripple effect? How did this happen? Is it going to happen again? let us know in the chat and the comments.
Let us know. Let us know, y'all.
So Gamescom was this week. Now that that's out
Gamescom
of the way. So Gamescom is it's still going on, actually. Oh, actually, no,
Yeah.
it's probably wrapping up today. But yeah, Gamescom is a week event with, not week as in strong week, but I mean like week as in week long. And it's not quite what E3 is necessarily, but it is very comparable as just a week-long event that you're going to get a lot of interviews, you're going to get a lot of trailers, and we got an opening night live, which was the kickoff event. We got to see, like, I'm going to guess 20 to maybe high 30 amount of games, and it was a show that look, just first and foremost, I wasn't expecting lots out of, because if you've seen previous Gamescom shows, they're not, you don't see the most insane stuff at Gamescom. I would say Gamescom is maybe the most, without a better term, mid show of the year. However, for me personally, this was a year that opening night live was actually pretty well paced, in my opinion. It definitely, I think it could have swapped its last announcement and first announcement. And there's definitely a semi-final announcement that was basically the talk of the town, which we're going to get into in a moment. But I still think the stuff that they showed and the way they open and close and somewhat, it was still at least well paced with big, small. And I thought it was like one of the better Gamescom shows. I'm not going to say it was amazing or anything, but I thought it was one of the better ones. And Nick, there's a lot of games to talk about, and I don't think we're going to go through each and every one of these, but I especially wanted to know, like, maybe just a brief generally how you felt about the show. And then, was there any highlights that you feel you must play first?
Yeah, must play is really hard because, operating on a backlog is tough. But
Totally.
there's a few things in here that really caught my eye. Obviously, off the top, Indiana Jones in the Great Circle. I'm incredibly hyped for it. I believe in machine games. The Wolfenstein New Colossus was like one of the best first-person shooters I had ever played at the point that I played it. So I feel like they're gonna do well here. It's still to be determined. Like, it's the trailers haven't necessarily hit for me, but as a long time Indiana Jones stan, I'm really excited for this game, and I'm excited to get Troy Baker and, probably just 25 to 30 hours of beating up Nazis. So that's definitely going to be a must play.
I expect like half of that, to be honest. That's a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so? You don't think it's gonna
I think it's like going to be 10 to 20, maybe. But then we did get some insights about it. We did. Yeah. So maybe I could be wrong about that. But anyway.
Yeah. It could be quick. But there's that. And then as a Starfield fan, check out the watch. I'm going to get the the Shattered Space expansion, and I'm going to have a blast.
Are you excited about the car?
Yeah, I want to rip. I want to crank those soggy 90s on the moon. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am so excited. I'm so excited to just jump in that dune buggy and mess around in that world again. I got lost in Starfield, and I feel like one of the things that Starfield doesn't get enough credit for is how artful it was. I feel like it was very nostalgic, and I felt like it was incredibly artistic, and it hit all of the right notes for me that I want from a Bethesda game. I know that people are tired of Bethesda. I know that there's a lot of negativity surrounding it, but I thought it was a great game. It was like a classic 8 out of 10. It's not going to blow any of your socks off, but what they wanted to do, they did perfectly well.
Was there any because it's funny because you started off with Xbox stuff. Which Xbox showed up hard. Like, that to me is kind of a highlight. That
right.
I counted, there was like 7 first party things from Xbox there. If you count everything that they own. That's nuts. Like, they're doing a good job, man. They show up at the Game Awards. They had a great showcase this year, and now they have like the biggest booth at Gamescom, which I have something of a shout out of that in a moment. But like, Our History Untold, Age of Mythology, Indiana Jones, Starfield, Towerborn. There was 2 other things. I know. I counted. It was like 7 or something. But was there any like maybe anything non-Xbox that showed up at the show? Like, did you honestly, because to me, I think the biggest announcement technically speaking, was Borderlands 4.
Yeah.
Chat, Nick, let me know if you're wrong, if I'm wrong. But I feel like that, just objectively, even though there's no such thing as objectivity in art, but like, I just feel like that was technically the biggest announcement of the show.
Yeah.
Even though we kind of already knew it was there, though, so...
But I mean, people have been saying that, in that theater, it was like, it kind of resounded with a wet fart with the audience. Like, everybody was just kind of like, oh, it's Borderlands. Like, it had been leaked. I think it was
Right.
one of the dev team had been talking about it on Twitter or something like that. So when it came out, they were like, oh, it's okay, this is a thing, I guess, because it was just like a sizzle reel thing, and it popped up and it showed the logo and everything. And as a person who is like first of all, I'm never going to go see that movie. I'm never going to watch it when it comes to streaming services. I'll watch Madam Web before I'll watch that Borderlands movie.
Damn, you need to relax. Damn.
I don't know. But no, I liked the first 2 games. I never played 3, but they're going to have an uphill battle trying to convince people to get back into Borderlands, because 3 was also kind of it had a middling reception from the people who rocked with that game heavy. So I mean, I feel like it's definitely like the biggest IP that was announced at the show in terms of like name brand recognition. But I don't know if the community is 100% behind it.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that. I can't speak because I'm not a Borderlands person. But there's I see Reina Takahara in the chat. Borderlands 2 was peak. Yeah, maybe like.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I think for me, if there was any highlights, there was actually one that was in the pre-show that like none of y'all are gonna know. But the pre-show, actually, there was a couple of neat nuggets, I thought. But
yeah,
it's called Begone Beast, and it was in the pre-show, and it essentially, to describe it, it just kind of looks like you're playing as 4 chibi people. One's like, I think 2 of them are animals, one is a kid and something, I don't know, but it just had this weird art style, but you're like co-oping through some scary mansion together. There was another one similar to that called this was actually everything I'm about to say is in the main show, but do you remember seeing that weird trailer that Jeff Keighley was like animated and
yeah, I saw that.
King of Meat, dude, when the gameplay came on, I was like, this is giving me my Fall Guys vibes.
Exactly.
This is giving me my Fall Guys.
I said to myself, I was like, this is a Tony ass game. This is a Tony game right here.
It is because one, I love games. This is why, like, I love Halo Infinite, and Fall Guys. Is like there's community made stuff. I love games that like the community can really contribute to it, and that's, I guess, what this is it Super Meat? I keep forgetting it. King of Meat. Like King of Meat, that's what they say. It's like the community's we're gonna start off with like 100 dungeons essentially that the developers made, but from there on, like the community, you could play those 100 maps, but over the next few months, feel free to make your own and then just keep adding to it. Yeah. And I love just games like that, as you said, like this tickled Tony's Fall Guys love, whatever. But in
terms of what I was looking at, to answer your question directly about stuff that's like not first party or not like huge first party stuff, the Reanimal from Tarsier Studios looks super cool.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Incredibly excited about that.
Yeah, like Paragon brought up Little Nightmares ? In the chat, and like, my one because I was looking forward to that because I loved Little Nightmares 1 and 2 personally. Like, I think they're both super solid games, and I say this as a guy that's not into horror games, but Little Nightmares 1 and 2 is just really good atmospheric storytelling platformer puzzle games. And I was really curious what Tarsier Studios, aka the people that made Little Nightmares, they sold the IP off, and now they just make something totally new. My disappointment with that trailer for it's Reanimate, right? Is that what it's called?
I think it's Reanimal.
I think you're right. Reanimal.
Yep.
My issue with it is that it looks and feels exactly like Little Nightmares. Like, if somebody told me this was Little Nightmares 3, I would have been like, yeah, that's Little Nightmares 3.
Yeah.
And then we saw a trailer for Little Nightmares 3 at the show too, which also looks good. But I'm like, I don't see a difference. I feel like this is a spin-off or something of Little Nightmares, even like just the way the characters are designed, the world. I do think Reanimate, in terms of the world and the things they're running from, look way more I like the art direction.
Yeah,
the
it's very
tone of
cinematic,
Reanimate.
isn't it?
Yeah, the lighting, and like there was the dude on the tricycle or something like that.
Yeah,
like it. I was definitely way more impressed with Reanimate, but I don't know. I don't know if, like, do you feel the same, or does anybody else in the chat like agree, disagree? That it just, were you kind of hoping that they made something just kind of more distinguishably different, or am I crazy? Do you feel it?
I think that this could be a situation where they could tonally go in a completely different direction. They lean on the aesthetics that they're good at, that they're pulling directly from Little Nightmares, and obviously Little Nightmares, very dark stories. Like, this is not, it's kind of, you're playing as a kid in this dark fantasy world, but it's not for kids, right? Like, it's brutal at times.
They can die.
Yeah. So I mean, like, and I say that it could be a tonal shift. They could, from the way that this trailer is showing, it maybe not be that much of a tonal shift, but they could get a little bit darker. They could get a little bit more philosophical. They could lean more heavy into like body horror or gore, that sort of thing. So it's like they could lean on different elements or try different, or to encapsulate different ideas into the gameplay style. But I imagine from like a moment-to-moment gameplay, like, gameplay loop standpoint, you're gonna be running and gunning. You're gonna be walking and trying to dodge or hide from enemies that are in that scary dark world.
There's once again from Paragon. Actually, Bobby says Reanimate gave my Inside vibes. Yeah, Reanimate, I would say, again, vibes wise, I think Reanimate definitely hits it a bit more. Or sorry, Reanimal, whichever one it is. I have
Reanimal.
Yeah, it is Reanimal. Okay, yeah. Everybody's mixing me up, but yeah, Paragon, Reanimal, and Little Nightmares 3 were both at the show, which is funny. And yeah, Reanimal looked better, but it still felt very samey. Yeah, like maybe it's, as you said, maybe there's something. Just, I don't know.
And I mean, my thing is that, like, here's the thing. Everybody wants to say, "Oh, give me something new. Give me something." I'm not saying that's what you're saying, Tony, but like, everybody is always clamoring for the next best thing that's new that they've never tasted before. And I'm like, you're giving me this wonderful bowl of chicken noodle soup that I've had for the 11th time in a row. Give me some more of that. I'm gonna eat it up. I'm gonna eat it up. And it's like, I think that especially for indie developers, if you are good at something, lean into that. And I think that that's what Tarsier Studios has chosen to do. If they were to make like
it's what put them on the map. Little Nightmares 1 and 2. That's yeah.
If they were to do something like, I don't know, pivot, like, not every company can be like Guerrilla and pivot from like a dark first-person shooter to a fantasy open world adventure, right? Not everybody has the privilege to do that. And I think that sometimes asking more, again, I know that this is not what you're saying, but I feel like we often see people in the community or reviewers in the community that ask so much more from developers than what they're capable of or what they have proven they're capable of in their previous releases. That's like, I get it, you want something more, but like, what's the cost of that?
Nick, I'm going to defend you here. Suicide Squad.
They should have never done that. And if you read the articles, they didn't want to. It was the studio lead at Rocksteady.
Redfall as well.
Yeah, nobody over at Arcane Studios wanted to do a live service shooter, and I think this was like, obviously
they didn't want to make it like that. And that's what we're nailing here, is like they didn't want to make it like that. So maybe you're right. Like maybe this, Reanimal, it's like, look, we figured out what we're pretty good at, and we want to make this, so let's just do it. It's going to be similar, but yeah, who knows? Yeah, but there's tons of other things. Like, was there, so speaking, we just mentioned Suicide Squad, and I want to mention this. Did that Batman trailer do anything for you?
Absolutely not. Oh my God.
Really? Dude, I thought it looked sick!
No.
Oh my God.
Get that away from my eyeballs. No.
Really?
Save me. I'll say this. that was very extra of me to say that, but I love Batman. I want to play a new Batman game that's Batman centric. I'm going to go back and play Arkham Asylum eventually at some point and just get that sensibility again, get those feels for classic Rocksteady Studios.
Yeah.
But I'm not a VR person. I never have been a VR person. I
Okay.
you know I wear glasses, I wear contacts more often than not. When I'm about my day, going about my day and stuff. But I also have this issue where it's like I have a real problem with things sitting on my face, and I know that like 2.5-pound VR headset is just going to give me a massive migraine. So that's a personal issue. That's
so
personal
what
issue.
if
That has
this
nothing to
was
do
like
with
a
the game.
first-person Batman game that like was a more polished Batman game? Like imagine it was just a smidge more like the writing, the gameplay, just none of that. Because for me, I watched that trailer and I was expecting an absolute like just shit show. But when I watched it, I'm like, this is the Batman VR game I was hoping for that they did like 4 or 7 years ago, however long it was. That one was lame. You were just on rails, looking around, doing nothing. But this one,
I remember that one.
You're on freaking the gargoyles or whatever, doing stealth. You scan
throwing
the room.
batarangs.
There's like an actual plot happening, and you're dodging, and you move, and it's like this is it. You're being the Batman, and I was like, okay, this could be cool. Like as I'm not a VR guy either because I get woozy.
Yeah.
Like I get kind of woozy, but like just in terms of a VR game, I think I was really impressed, but I wish it wasn't exclusive to MetaQuest so much.
Yeah.
Because that is a bummer. Like there's going to be a conversation about exclusivity later, but I thought it looked cool. So this is a neat moment that we have two very different perspectives.
Yeah. I think I have it pulled up on a different screen right now and I'm looking at it, the trailer, and like my issues with it are that the combat does not look nearly as good as combat that we've gotten in Batman games of the past, which I think personally is going to be an issue. And it's like, how can you deliver combat like that in a VR experience? I don't think we figured that out yet.
They even had, didn't they have, if I remember in the trailer, they had like the little blue mark show up too at the side. I was like, no freaking way.
Yeah. I think that like it can do some cool stuff. I think for me personally, I would be more intrigued by the investigative side of being a Batman, going into a crime scene, whipping out a gadget and like looking down or finding like a mystery that's nestled behind a box or underneath a, piece of paper or whatever it is in an office. Like I think that part of being the Batman and like, being the world's greatest detective, right, is really intriguing and could be very cool. But I just think that this is going to be a hard sell, and I'm never going to play a VR game, and it bums me out because it's like I want to, but it's just I don't
like
think
right when PlayStation made theirs compatible with the PC,
Right, that's true.
You can't.
That's true.
Just MetaQuest.
Yeah, you can get that for like what, a cool $550 still?
Yeah.
Have they discounted it?
With
Have
the
they discounted
adapter,
it at all? Do we know?
Well, actually, no, they did. They had a really good. I was actually tempted by the discount. It was like
really?
$300
Okay.
instead of 500. Yeah, but yeah, Paragon's like another issue with VR is length. Like I'm assuming you mean like you need the space.
Playing.
Or that too. Yeah, it's probably going to be really short. That's what I imagine. VR games, you're kind of playing an experience rather than like a full-blown game. Yeah, Paragon's like you need a large room, enough money for the equipment that might become useless in 2 years, and pay for a piece of a 2 or 3 hour experience. Yeah, I would be surprised honestly if it's more than 2 hours, because that's just VR. They're usually pretty gosh darn short.
Right. I've heard, wasn't there like a meta game that came out that met rave reviews that was one of those things where it's like that people were calling it a 10 out of 10 game, a must play game, but it was
that wasn't
VR
Half-Life
exclusive on
Alyx, because that wasn't MetaQuest. Yeah.
No.
I don't know. Another to me a shout out is it's the last shout out, like the last two shout outs I have before what is my favorite thing of the show is Directive 8020.
Oh.
Which I don't know if you remember that or if anybody in the chat remembers that. It kind of passed by really quick. It was like this horror. Again, I'm not a horror guy, but
really,
I'm not. Don't touch me. but Directive 8020. At first, I'm like looking at the trailer. I'm like, okay, it's a horror game or whatever. But then it says Dark Pictures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the same studio that does like Man of Medan and all that jazz?
Yeah, Dark Pictures Anthology.
Yeah, yep. So it said Dark Pictures, and I was like, interesting, because Directive 8020, it's a sci-fi, which they haven't done, and then the creature is posing as the main girl that's in the trailer. So I'm like, oh, there's some kind of thing or replicant shenanigans, and it's a dark pictures game. This is fascinating. I just find that fascinating. And Dune Awakening. I'm very terrified of that game.
Really?
At first I thought Dune Awakening, like, okay, whatever. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool you guys are doing it.
We
But then
saw
the
them at
trailer
PAX
that
East.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
The
I might see
studio,
them
at
soon.
least.
I'm going to PAX West soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I wasn't interested in it until this trailer at Gamescom, because they highlighted just the world and all things you're doing, and that's just an MMO and just being Dune universe, and the combat gave me serious Mass Effect feel. Like when they showed the combat, it really felt like Mass Effect, which I'm not saying I love Mass Effect for combat, but I haven't seen combat like this in a while. And it looks pretty good, and I like the idea that, oh yeah, everybody's going to converge on these certain zones to get supplies because they want to upgrade their, it's not guild, but something like that. I thought those two were pretty cool things, but they weren't my thing of the show. I don't know if you have any thoughts on those or any other shout outs.
I didn't. It's crazy because I was trying to imagine it in my mind's eye, and I'm scrolling through the releases or the reveals that was at opening night live, but there's not too much that I really kind of hung on to. There were a couple of other ones that I thought were really interesting that they kind of debuted and showcased here, but one of the ones that really stuck out to me was Lost Records Bloom and Rage from the same studios that did Life is Strange. And it just looks exactly like another Square Enix Quantic Dream. I don't think it's Quantic Dream. I think they have a different developer team. But it's going to be another Life is Strange type thing, but it's its own story. They're going away. They're at least stepping away from the Life is Strange branding. It seems really cool. It seems like, again, like I have this thing about when people lean on nostalgia, or they lean on like the 80s, or just like they do like time periods in video games. I'm like, oh,
so mixtape
really
hit you during that Xbox showcase, huh?
Yes, very much so. I don't know. I definitely want to play that, and then I also want to play the Max Caulfield game that they're coming out. I think it's coming out this year.
I have a moment. I'm going to mention that in a moment, but yeah.
But yeah, I think this looks cool, and it just looks like a group of friends. And then, of course, this definitely not Life is Strange game that they're playing here is going to have a dark twist. Some crazy shit's going to happen. We're going to have some timeline shifting. And so I love it when they have this thing where they write really good characters into a narrative that are like great friends. And it's that feeling of companionship, that feeling of bonding. And then, oh shit, everything goes wrong, and you have to kind of like work through that, play through that. So that's another shout out for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What was your moment of the show?
My moment of the show? Like overall
moment of the show,
moment?
Trailer of the show, update of the show.
Honestly,
that isn't about the Indiana thing.
Yeah, that's fair. I will say this, and I am not an Overwatch guy. I'm not an Apex Legends guy. I'm not I will never be a Concord guy after this release.
Hey, come on.
Sorry, Firewalk Studios. No. But this trailer for Marvel Rivals got me. As soon as I saw Bucky show up, and then that it's not adamantium, that vibranium shield slam down, and all of a sudden it's Captain America in this cool new redesign that we haven't seen yet show up, I was like, actually, this is really hype. Let's go. And my
everybody's
co-host
designs
Will,
look so good in that game, dude.
They do. They look great. And then my co-host Will was saying during the beta that they just recently had that this was light years ahead of whatever they're trying to do with Concord. Plus, it's free to play. So if you want to jump in there, get your hands wet, it's no barrier to entry. So that's got to be my moment of the show, where it's like, okay, it's like Cap and Bucky, slamming, and then obviously you see the gameplay where they're both fighting all of the other players that are on the field at that point in time. It looks sick.
I will say I'm a little bit weirded out by Bucky's gimmick.
Really?
They made his arm venom.
It's like exactly. I totally get that. It was like biomechanical. It's like, does that happen in canon? I don't know.
I've never seen that. Like I
don't know anything about the comics of anything of the Avengers. I'm a big MCU fan, but that's where that starts and ends. So I don't know why they went that route, but it's interesting.
was a little bit weird to me, but like I'm with you. I thought like that was kind of the trailer that got me too. Not to mention there has been a lot of good like positive word of mouth leading up to this trailer. So yeah, Marvel, and I think we got the date too there. I don't think we knew what the release date was until this trailer. I could be wrong. Jack, correct me, please.
I think this was one.
Yeah. For me, my highlight of the show, dude. No freaking question. And if you pay attention to my channel, you already know what it is. But like, dude, there's no cinematic entertainment studio, whatever, that rivals Blizzard Entertainment.
Oh yeah.
Other than Blur Studios. They are the people that have done effing phenomenal work in game cinematics, CGI, sound design, all that jazz. They are the only studio, in my opinion, that can rival what Blizzard has made. And that's saying something, because Blizzard is like absolute legends in that department.
They are.
But Blur Studios announcing here that they are making a full-blown Amazon Prime anthology series. That alone would have been like I'm in. But then they're like, guess what? It's going to be based off of like 15 different things from like AAA to indie level, from Spelunky to Mega Man to freaking, I think like literally I have a friend that's like, I think it's weird that they picked Sifu because that's not popular or whatever. And I'm
Sifu
like, dude,
is really fucking good. I don't care.
Exactly.
I love Sifu.
But like
so
whether it's good or not, it's like I love that. Like they are actually hitting so many different levels of recognition, IP or whatever.
Did you see Mega Man? As soon as I saw Mega Man step out of the shadow, I was like, oh, it's so over. I need this in my eyeballs as soon as humanly possible. That's incredible.
Mega Man in a Blur Studios episode short?
We're eating. We're going to be eating. Do we know when this comes out? Did they put a date on it?
Yeah.
At all, or?
I think they said December 10th, December 8th, 9th, 10th, something there, I believe. So, yeah, the next 3 months are going to be insane. But Paragon, you're here in the chat, man. I appreciate you. He's like, by the way, did you see no Xbox property? I don't think I saw any. Yeah, somebody was like, man, I wish they did Halo because they've had a great relationship with Halo.
Halo has legends though. So if you want like a cinematic Halo thing, go and watch Halo Legends. This is one of the best things in that universe.
And that's what I was thinking. It's like I heard it in a podcast. They were like, did you watch the show? They just got a show, man.
Oh my fucking God. Don't ever bring that up around me. I did like my second piece of content ever on our main channel was disparaging that garbage show. And I refused to watch season 2. I have very strong opinions. So strong opinions.
There's a moment.
No more Master Cheeks.
I'm just going to spoil something from season 2. There's a moment that he goes like, there's a Marine that he's saving Marines. And the Marine's like, are they still here? And he's like, yeah. And then he's like, how do you know? I can smell them.
You're lying.
Like, he can smell it. I'm 100% serious. I'm like, did Chief just say that? But anyway,
I knew. To get a little raunchy, I knew when he banged the alien, not alien girl in the first season. I was like, all bets are off the table. He's never wearing the fucking suit. He's clapping cheeks. He's showing his cheeks. It's over for Master Cheeks.
But
honestly.
to respond to Paragon though, like there's no Xbox properties there, and there was no Halo. Even though but the thing is like Halo, that is Blur actually almost got on the map because of Halo. I could be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong about that, chat, and anybody watching. But they did the cutscenes for Halo Wars. They did the cutscenes for Halo Wars 2. They did the cutscenes for Halo 2 Anniversary. I don't think they did for Infinite. I might be wrong about that. But they've done a lot of work for Halo already, so it would have been sick, but it's kind of like we already got that if you just put all of Halo Wars 2 together kind of a thing. So, but I'm stoked for this, dude. Like all the IP that they're hitting and like of all the studios to do this, to me, it's a dream come true project. And it's something that I'm like baffled isn't being talked about more than it is, but we all know that the internet loves to talk about bad news more than good news. So
no, people in that were like, vein, oh, this is hype, and then it disappeared for sure.
Yeah. In that vein, the internet loves to talk about very controversial and questionable or bad news much more than good news. And at Gamescom, Xbox kind of became the accidental, or maybe not accidental, star of this show. And for my main like speculation time topic with you, Nick, and the chat, why did Xbox announce Indiana Jones with the release date, by the way, December for PC and Xbox, but then as a one more thing, by the way, it's going to be on PlayStation 5 in spring.
Coming to PlayStation, baby.
2025. And it's like a whole topic. And my question to this is, in a year that a lot of people are kind of questioning Xbox's new direction, because they announced at the start of the year, like, hey, we're gonna have 4 of our games that we're testing out, and we're going to release that elsewhere. And they called that like as an emergency meeting because people were talking and yeah, this is happening. And it's like, okay, let's get out there and put some water on the fire or whatever.
Right.
And just let's make clear, it's not Starfield, it's not Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, I have comments on that, but they started the year off by doing that. Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, Grounded, Pentiment. Let's just test these out. These aren't our Forza. This isn't Gears. This isn't Halo. These are not our Fable. These are not our Xbox IP. But they are new IP. Then let's just see how they do elsewhere. And that test must have did well. Because now we see that Indiana Jones is going to be on PlayStation 5 in the spring.
Yep. And
I want to bring in, to kind of back this whole conversation, there's a write-in that I received from Damio, I'm going to read this wrong, Damio S. Anya 4656. I want to read this because this is interesting. A lot of Xbox fans are unhappy with the continued multi-platform plans of Xbox. Indiana Jones just got announced for PS5 a few months after the Xbox release as a one more thing. Like, who does that? Sony or Nintendo don't do that with their third-party timed exclusives. Like, what is the point of owning an Xbox console anymore? Because you don't even get third-party exclusives like Final Fantasy, and Sony or Nintendo will never put their first-party games on the console as well. So all this is coming after the 4 games, and also Doom the Dark Ages going day one on PS5 as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a back-end question here. What is the point of getting an Xbox if they don't have these publishers and IP as exclusives? That's kind of the backbone of this conversation. Nick, how did you react to this? And do you did it scare you, and where are you with it now?
I think it is concerning. I was gonna crack a joke earlier and be like, yeah, I gotta make sure I'm getting into the next, Xbox, mid-generation update and make sure I grab my PS5 Pro this Christmas when they release it. But in all seriousness, I think that exactly as you said before, they have been testing the waters. They've been dipping their toes in the water by putting their, first-party IP on PlayStation. Obviously, Sea of Thieves was a massive success. Finally having the PlayStation player count come and jump in that game, and obviously revitalizing that game in general and just giving it more hype than ever. And obviously we don't have the numbers that they're looking at, but clearly for them to make a move this significant, I agree with you. I think it's very significant that they do this. At first, it was funny because I was confused watching this show, because I was watching it, and then Jeff had previously spoken about other games that had come out, and he was like, okay, and it's coming to PS5 this day, and he didn't say anything about Xbox, and I can't remember off the top of my head which games that was, but I was like, oh, weird, I wonder why he's just announcing PS5. And then when he said that about Indiana Jones, I was like, does Jeff have a deal with Sony or something like that? Because I was like, why is he focusing on the PS5? And then it kind of made sense when I started realizing that Xbox was actually there. They showed up big time. Phil Spencer was there. They had a whole conversation. There was like recorded clips of him talking about it in an interview afterwards. Yeah. And so it's interesting, but go ahead.
I want to ask, so because what I think when I first saw this, I honestly am like, weird. Mm-hmm. Like I don't have a problem. I personally, and I say this as an Xbox guy, but I put on Twitter last night because I was tired. I can't wait to change Console Warriors diapers tomorrow because I get, like, it's important to have exclusives. It is. It's what helps sell people your hardware to get into your ecosystem, because if you get people into your ecosystem, then you can make the sales or whatever. But on a fan level, what's really important that I did see somebody point out, and it's a really good point, actually, to me, the best point being, if the other hardware, if people just save themselves for PlayStation, and just that's how they get Indiana Jones, that's how they get all these games, there's going to be a much higher player base on PlayStation, potentially. And then a lot of third-party partners are going to skip being on Xbox because there's not as many people to sell to there. And that's kind of the point of the competition. Not just for us, the consumers. Like, that's the point of competition, is like, it helps make innovation happen. It helps make competitiveness happen of just like deals and innovation. But he brought up the point that if a lot of people skip it and move to PlayStation, where they know, hey, I could get all the games that Xbox has, but also the PlayStation stuff, I'm just going to go there. Then we look at things like Square Enix has done in the past. We look at things like this Capcom Marvel fighting game, whatever, that's skipping Xbox. We have so many examples, Wukong, and the list of examples go on and on. Maybe that's because of hardware reasons, but like, they also probably feel, hey, listen, there's not enough of these boxes to really warrant the effort to doing this, and we have the limited amount. Like, right. I could be wrong. It's just this topic is speculation time. But that was a good point. But my case, when we take console wars, tribalism, emotions, when we put all that aside, and we become a businessman. We become a businessman, Nick and chat.
I'm putting my business hat on.
So let's do this as an exclusive for a bit. And we're going to have it kind of cap off the last 3 months of the year, where we're basically going to have a first-party game on Game Pass every 2 weeks. And we're going to cap it off with this Indiana Jones property. And hopefully, I'd be shocked if not, including Black Ops 6, which won't be an exclusive either, we're going to get a lot more Game Pass people trying out our ecosystem. And if they're on our ecosystem, they might spend some stuff there. We have data to back that up, yeah. And then, when the time comes, we know that there's like 50 million people on PlayStation, we'll sell that to them. Sea of Thieves just became like the biggest selling game when we released it over there. That's a lot of money. That makes sense as a business practice. Like we'll get more subs during our exclusivity window, but if people want to buy it, here's the bigger market for it. I believe that strategy, but what I kind of pose to you and everybody is, one, if you think that makes sense, but also, my weird thing is that they announced this the way they did. That to me is the issue. Them going, hey, here's the release date, December.
Sure.
But if you wait, you could get it on PlayStation. And that's the weird part to me. That is the concern to me. I don't have the problem with the exclusivity. And plus this is a Disney thing. I have an issue with them promoting it before the game's even out and being like, by the way, we have 3 hardware models coming out during the holiday season, but you don't need to buy those. That's what they just
Yeah.
did. You don't need to buy those though. You don't need to get stuff. Like you can wait if you want. And that's
No,
the part that I'm really curious about.
I agree with you because the discless Series X, the new all white crisp discless one, looks really sweet, honestly. And I mean, if I were
I
somebody
agree.
that didn't own an Xbox console, I would be tempted. I would be tempted to buy one. But when you see, like, if you're at all remotely paying attention, and also, again, putting the business hat on, if we're going to take us as gaming enthusiasts, people who are, have our finger on the pulse of the industry, if we're going to talk about the mom and pop that are going to walk into the Best Buy and be like, I need an Xbox for my boyo, they just know that an Xbox is the thing and they're going to be pointing in the direction. I think that people are still buying it. PlayStation is outselling Xboxes 3-1 right now. I just looked at the numbers. It's pretty significant,
Nearly,
the gap
yeah.
between PlayStations and Xbox
Yes.
that are out there in the ecosystem right now. And I genuinely think that, but to your point, I don't think that they should have ever said anything about a PS5 release date. If you want to garner hype for a property that you paid for, that you own, that you developed in-house in your own studios, within Machine Games, like this is supposed to be a highlight of 2024 for the year. They didn't release it in time to be eligible for Game Awards. Who knows if it's going to be in 2025 Game Awards? I mean, that doesn't necessarily matter
Possible, but yeah,
either.
yeah.
I mean, it's like
Right.
it's not the end all be all, but it also kind of would be nice if it was that good to have accolades. Maybe they've already internally looked at it and be like, maybe this isn't Game Awards bait or anything like that. But it could have been a strong contender. Either way, I think that this is a perfect situation of Phil Spencer and the executive leadership's team messaging to Xbox consumers not necessarily aligning with what their overall strategy is. And this is a constant problem that they have faced this entire generation. They say one thing and then they do another. And this is like a perfect example of like, you could have just not done this, bro. You could have just not said anything. Have the game come out, have people rave about it if it's good, or be like, it's all right if it's all right, and then drop it in March if you want to on PS5. The Sony fans are going to be busy playing whatever dumb shit's going to be releasing on Sony anyway, excuse my language. But regardless, like it's one of those things where it's like I love PlayStation, but I also love Xbox. So I think that there is always an argument to be made about why it's nice to be in the Xbox console ecosystem. I'm one of the privileged few that has access to all of the consoles right now. So, I can bounce around and I can pick and choose where I'm going to go. So not a lot of people have that. Some kid that's in high school right now has probably one shot to get a console from either summer money they saved up or their mom wants to maybe go halvesies with them on it. And if you're looking in between the current offerings right now, if I were a betting man, they're probably going to lean PS5 because you can't get any of those pinnacle PS5 games. You can't get Ghost of Tsushima on Xbox. You can't get any of the first party exclusives on Xbox. And it seems that
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Like I want to because this is a Disney IP and it's like Xbox's first big Disney IP that they've gotten like develop and get the rights to and everything. Paragon again brings up some good stuff in the chat. Like so Logan may have to be multi and PC. So Star Wars, Marvel, Indiana, all that, it's just forced that onto the studios making Spider-Man, Star Wars, Indiana, and Blade. So I'm wondering, like, I can almost guarantee you this same approach is going to happen with Blade in the future. I'd be shocked if it doesn't.
Right.
But same, not just Xbox, but same Bethesda, same license holder. I wonder, do you think this was more of a Disney decision or a Microsoft decision?
I'm leaning towards Microsoft. I think that Disney, I mean, Microsoft would be beholden to Disney, obviously, because of the property, right? It's a conversation. I trust John Drake. I think that he has a really good head on his shoulders, and I think that he does a really good job at playing the field with both of the parties, both of the two camps between Sony and Xbox. I think that it's up to Xbox ultimately to determine this is their property. Machine Games is developing the studio. It is up to them on how they want to market this game. And, Disney can choose whether or not they want to continue working with them or licensing their IP to them. But at the end of the day, they made this agreement. and this evolved in real time. I feel like there were discussions in boardrooms that were like, yeah, we have to send this third party. Making the point about Logan, I'll guarantee you this right now. Logan's gonna drop exclusively on the PS5 when it releases. As a betting
I
man,
think
it's gonna
so.
drop exclusively on PS5. It'll be fast tracked probably to PC. I don't have any doubt that it's gonna come to PC in the very near
Like
future.
6 months to a year. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, I'm sure they're working on that concurrently, but the PS5 is their main focus. But
Right.
this is an issue where it's like, Sony has that luxury to do it, and Xbox is kind of on their back foot when it comes to getting people to or getting that monetization for their game out there. This coming day and date on Game Pass is interesting. We've seen weird things happen where it's like something will come out on Game Pass, but not actually cannibalize the sales of that game overall, even though it's not
Yeah.
releasing like multi-platform.
We look at Power. Power World
yeah.
was a exclusive to Xbox. It was on PC too, but it was a Game Pass launch. But still, over 2 million people bought it, on Steam.
Right.
So
we've seen
it's
examples
like
of
people are going to buy
excellence.
stuff where they want to play it. That's just what they're going to do. Yeah.
Right. And I think the difference here is that, okay, Logan and Marvel character, the most famous X-Men in the world, people are going to buy PS5 to play Logan. There are Wolverine fans that are going to buy
100%.
those games to play, Insomniac's Wolverine. Indiana Jones doesn't have that cachet anymore. As a 90s kid who loves Indiana Jones, I could recite the theme song for you right now. I wish he did, but
is there lyrics?
It's phased out. Nobody thinks archaeologists are cool anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and my one more article I saw was this year everything that Xbox is kind of going to is because, like, I guess the title of the article was basically something like Xbox buying Activision Blizzard was the worst thing for Xbox fans. That's the title of the article. And I'm like, go on. But I get what the point is because one, $70 billion is a lot of money, and they had to fight through over a year and a half of freaking lawyer bullshit to make it happen and everything.
Right.
Papa Microsoft isn't going to let Xbox do whatever they want with it after all that. Now, that's something. So that's why maybe this direction, I don't want to say it's all Microsoft's choosing, but it's like, look, we want that return as soon as possible. So what's going on? Like, how can we make this really worth it? And that's why they did this test run earlier in the year. But I think the other thing is, and they probably had this idea, like, let's just, in the background, just kind of tinker with the idea of it being on PlayStation 5 so we could potentially do that next year. Which, by the way, spring, I think it would be May. A 6-month window. It's in December 9th or whatever, May 9th, something like that. But anyway, and so when there was these financial reports, I think it was like a couple weeks ago, we see that, oh my God, games and services at Xbox now is making a killing and hardware is doing terribly. Now, I'm not bringing that up as a factor of like, okay, let's just abandon hardware and focus on what sells, which is what any good businessman or creator or whatever will do. Let's just focus on what works.
Mm-hmm.
But the other factor in that is their percentage of the money that they made was like 40% because of the sales that is generated by Activision Blizzard. Like, that was part of that
wild
report.
To think about.
40%, Nick. And that's like, and I think that's a factor, is like, look at all these sales, and they know, we don't know, we'll never know, but they know that, man, look at all these sales that are on PlayStation. Look at all these sales that are on Epic. Look at all these sales that are on this or that. Like, why would we sanction that off into our own market that's smaller than everybody? And again, this is just the business mind speaking. As an Xbox guy, I get it. Like, I exclusives is what makes me feel justified in having the box and everything.
Right.
And I think Microsoft's going this direction. Sorry, Xbox is being told by Microsoft to go into this direction, that instead of exclusives, let's let our selling point be play our stuff with Game Pass. You're not going to get Game Pass on Nintendo. You're not going to get it on PlayStation. You're just not. Maybe 20 years in the future. But for now, that's going to be the main thing. We don't have the exclusives, but we have so many first-party things now. Even if we do lose out on third-party things, you could play our things day and date with Game Pass. And chat, there is a poll going on for what game Nick and I are going to play, but I really ask you and everybody, like, how much longer is exclusivity going to be the big selling point? I'm sure it's going to be a selling point for a while. But you already see PlayStation acknowledging we need to get more of our games day and date on PC day one. And it's becoming a shift. Phil did an interview that he says that's what's happening in the industry. And maybe he's fluffing it a bit, but it's true. Like, they're shifting. Yeah. Our budgets are exponentially growing. Even the former president of PlayStation admitted it. Like, we need to figure out how to do this and fight these ballooning budgets. And this is how they do it. And as long as I keep getting games on Game Pass, and I'm cool with it. I just think that they shouldn't have announced it early. That's all. Give us that for a bit, and then announce that later on afterwards. But
yeah, I think that like multi-platform licensing is never really a bad thing, especially if you want to maintain yourself as a brand, in a brand for physical hardware. I we were tiptoeing around this earlier, and I think that some folks are kind of like alluding to it in the chat, but the question does need to be asked, like, how many more times do we get a console from Xbox before you're going to get all Xbox games, or everything else on the Switch? Or
I fully believe the next gen is going to be the last one for Xbox. I fully believe that.
I think that we only do get one more console from Xbox because of Call of Duty. I feel like that's the only reason, like, whatever returns that we're getting, or that Microsoft is getting from the Call of Duty acquisition right now, it's going to be the thing that's going to help fund us getting one more console. I wouldn't be surprised if they pivoted with access to, faster internet. If fiber still isn't really accessible even in my area, and I'm in a city in North Carolina, right?
It's not like mainstream yet.
Yeah. Like, with wider access to faster internet, I feel like they could pivot to cloud-based platforms and try to make exclusivity plays because of that. But I don't think the tech is there for that, and I don't think the audience is quite there for cloud platforming as it is. I mean, it's amazing, and it does work right now, but it's never quite right. It's never like quite on that level where it's like, this is a seamless, fun, amazing experience. But yeah, it's tough, Tony, because it's like the whole exclusivity thing has worked for Nintendo for so many years. They don't put their games on anything.
Like, so there's some people pointing out like the Winter Shoulder. I like that name. But what else is going to differentiate these consoles? If they all do the same thing, it's going to be very boring and in competitive market. Yeah, and maybe, like I've said this for the past year or two, I really think we are transitioning to what is, instead of the console wars, it's going to be the content wars. That's really what I believe. I think we are still, like, we're basically phasing out of the console wars, but we're transitioning to what is the content wars. Who has the better service, who's outputting more games and the better, more accessibility to play those games. And that's why they have a mobile division. People are forgetting that, but that's something they opened up last year or the year before, and they're still working on it. And they try to do this live service shenanigans, and like, they're trying to do it too. They're following suit of what Xbox was doing last gen.
Right.
And Nintendo won't do it for another 40 years. But like, it's working for them. Like Steffi says in the chat, I'd say sometime in the next 15 years. Like, like consoles are just not going to be a thing. And I have this whole theory video that for some reason blew up about just Xbox's plan to release their next console in 2026. And I am firmly in belief that they are trying to rush to that because, like, they want it to be over. Not they want it, but, like, let's just do it. Let's just get in our last gen so we can sometime 2032, maybe. That's when we're kind of just everywhere, literally, which is what they want. That's their only consistent branding. Right. When everyone plays, we all win.
Yeah. And then value proposition, right? You can never get around value proposition. Also, another thing that we didn't point out in terms of revenue and what's going to like allow Xbox to continue operating, King. Everybody always forgets about Candy Crush. It consistently forgets about it, but it's like the parent gamer market is out there. They're just not playing games in the way that you think traditionally. So it's still there. They have a while to go, but I am so curious as to like what the future is going to look like for them, for their system. But I think that it will be quite some time. Like, we're not going to see it immediately. They're going to slowly phase into it, but it will be quite some time until Xbox is just a third-party publisher, unless they find some way to like.
They'll make controllers. They'll make the sticks. They'll make stuff, accessories.
Yeah, for sure. But we saw it happen to Sega, and Sega consistently overestimated the popularity as well as like the cultural cachet of their hardware, and they fell by the wayside because Sony and Nintendo were just too competitive at that era. But yeah, it's tough, Tony. I don't know.
Let's see. Guys, this has been a long one. Like, we could, like, the whole show could have been about this. That's why I made it the thumbnail and everything. But right. Is there any comments from the chat or questions that we did not hit this week that you would potentially like us to talk about? Because we're going to play a good game, to which we had 20 people that voted on Guess the Theme.
What?
60% out of 20 votes say Guess the Theme. Damn, I was hoping you guys voted for me to guess a 20Q. Because I don't know when I'm going to be able to guess a 20Q, because it's always the guess that gets it. But yeah, there's a reason I put that in the poll. So
What is 20? It's like 20 questions?
Yeah, you know.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's... Have you ever actually played that before?
Never.
You've heard people play it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a reason to put Guess the Theme on there, though, and I'll introduce that. So 60%, that's a pretty commanding majority. More than half of you voted that. So
sick.
We'll do that. But is there any other comments before we do that as this community live show? Overall, Gamescom, I thought, has been a good time. I'm still working through a lot of things. Oh, I guess that's something, Nick. Is there anything outside of Opening Night Live? Like outside of Opening Night Live, because there's a lot that's going on outside of it. Has anything else caught your eye about, like? If not, it's all good.
Just like in gaming, it's hard. There's not been a ton of stuff that I've had.
Have you seen that Date Anything game?
Date Anything? No. Oh no, yeah. It was like different staplers would turn into like a virtual boyfriend. That looks sick.
Anything in the house. Anything in the house just turns into like a sexy. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Like, I'm happy about the Akimbot thing. Like I mentioned earlier, I just think it looks like a Ratchet and Clank type game, and I might be tempted to hit that. People were talking about Avowed earlier, but like there's a whole
that game.
Yeah, cool.
I don't know. Are you down for that? I mean, I know you said that like RPGs aren't necessarily your thing, but
if which is rare, but if like not much is going on, then I'm gonna hit it. Because I like to abuse what I get with Game Pass.
Sure.
But yeah, it's hard for me with RPGs. It's definitely hard with me. But there's a lot of talk about like, oh, it's targeting 30 frames right now. This is bullshit, and I'm just like. I know. I'm not one of those people, man. I get it. I think options would be optimal. Give us the 4K 30, 1080p 60 or whatever. I think that is what should be the case. And we'll see, though. It's not even out yet. So they're just saying we've always been targeting 30, but we're still working on it. So we'll see. But
sure.
You mentioned earlier Life is Strange double exposure.
Yeah.
They put out a new... Did you see, like, there was a new trailer for that?
I did not. I'm trying to hide from it all. I'm trying to keep myself. To keep myself unspoiled.
Well, there's nothing like in this. They put out a new trailer that all it does is just really showcase Max's like just ability in this.
Oh, really?
And that's what excites me. Like
okay.
If it was just another Life is Strange with Max, cool. But the thing that I loved about the first game specifically was Max's ability. Like, you can absolutely say by the end of this conversation, this was your decision. You chose this because you rewound it so many times. So like, I love them showing this thing where literally Max is kind of just bouncing between these different realities. And there's even like a UI option that's like, hey, you can, like, if you need some kind of label on the screen to let you know which reality you're in, you could put that on the screen as like an accessibility thing. And I'm like,
that's actually
what are we going to be able to do?
Yeah, I thought
there was like another example. I don't even, maybe it's spoiler to you, but they just showed like an example of like how Max could do certain things with the reality. I'm like, this looks cool.
That is really sick. So it's like her time, instead of just transitioning in between timelines, she's jumping from reality to reality. And each different world has like different things that happen to whatever character she's interacting with.
Yeah,
Which is
she
just
like
so
they show an
cool.
example that she talks to somebody and she's like, what did you say to Beth? And the girl's like, Beth, and then Max is like, oh shit, kind of thing.
Like,
yeah. So it looks cool. And oh, did you see that Helldivers 2 is coming to Xbox?
I did not. When is that happening? Were you
I
lying?
like how you it's
Are you messing with me? Stop lying with me. It says PlayStation on the front of it. It's not coming to Xbox.
Oh my god, my spleen. I should have rolled with that for longer. No, another highlight to me was Starship Troopers Extermination is coming to Xbox and PlayStation 5 on October 11th. Which actually, that's like legit. Like that's what Helldivers 2 is basically. Anyway, it's Starship Troopers. But I have a friend that played this game on PC. It's been on PC for like the past year. Starship Troopers Extermination. And he says, like, this is really a great co-op game because instead of just 3 or 4 players, it's like 16, and it goes all over the map, and the function's cool. Like, you have a squad leader, and the squad leaders can communicate to the other squad leaders because there's like multiple squads. It's like a legit like war that's happening instead of just one squad. So I'm pretty
that does sound cool.
Interested.
The premise.
Yeah. Yeah,
I just wish it had the presentation that you would get. I did play that a little bit when it for a demo through that game, but it just if it had the Helldivers presentation, we'd be locked in. I do want to say there was one game that I have been playing with Will, my co-host at the Friday Night Gamecast, and we don't often play together because there's not that many. We both like story games, so there's not many out there that we can choose to play that's like palatable. He likes the action shooters, multiplayer games more than I do. But we have been playing one game because we went to go to the movie theaters in IMAX and see Alien Romulus. And oh boy, Tony, I know you're not a horror guy, but oh my god, it was.
I want to see that movie. It looks really good.
It is so good. We talk about like, if you're a fan of like visual effects and CG, you're going to just be blown away the entire time. But we're talking about this is going back to its horror roots. Like it is freaking scary. So very, very much like, I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think when you go see it. But I got home from that movie and I was like, I really want to play Alien game. There aren't that many Alien games besides Alien Isolation, which is also going to scare the daylights out of you, right? But Will and I booted up. It was actually on PlayStation Plus, and we downloaded it. We booted up Aliens Fireteam Elite. Yeah, we were playing that together, and that's actually a fun game. Like it's not.
It looked good.
Game.
I remember that. It looked really good.
It's like super serviceable, and they've had a ton of quality of life updates. Like this is the first time I'm touching it, and it's probably like 3 or 4 years past its launch, and it runs like a dream. And I'm just going in and playing with different classes, and it's me and Will, and it's like they're reloading their guns with incendiary ammo. They're like, let's rock, and it's so cool. It's like it's very, very hype, and it's again, it's like not on the level of quality or presentation that you're going to get in Helldivers, but it's still functional, and it's fun just to be in that alien universe, just splatting bugs all over the place.
You play awesome. Fireteam if you want the aliens experience, and you play Isolation if you want the alien experience.
Exactly.
That's
right.
really it. Yeah. I will say one more note is just that like I thought I've been watching the live streams from the Xbox booth or whatever. They've had one like every day basically. They're like 2 to 3 hours long, and I think through these live streams, it's just kind of a little general note, I feel Activision Blizzard is actually part of Xbox now. And it's funny because I didn't feel that way during the showcase. Rob Kell and I talked about that, and the chat disagreed with me and us. Like we didn't quite feel that way, but these live streams have really made it feel like, oh yeah, Blizzard and Activision IP are now like part of the Xbox family, and that's been pretty cool. So I'm kind of happy to get that feel because I haven't felt that way with how long they're taking to port all their games to Game Pass and their DLCs. Like so far we haven't, other than Black Ops, have like a big Game Pass day one situation. So these streams have been really cool. I felt like just the vibe of like, yeah, we're part of the family now. So that's my other shout out. The Winter Shoulder
day one on Black Ops.
Dude, I'm stoked for that campaign.
Really? Okay.
I'm not a Call of Duty guy. I haven't played a Call of Duty campaign in years, mostly just because
omnidirectional movement. you know.
Dude, I can't pay that much money for just, I don't want to play the multiplayer. I'm not a multiplayer COD guy. But the zombies and the campaign, I'm like, I'm ready.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Maybe that's what we can finally play together is COD Zombies.
We're gonna play Halo first, I promise. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Winter Shoulder. I'm actually more interested in Lost Records. There you go. That was a cooler premise with time periods and a group of characters. Yeah, like it seems the vibe, Winter Shoulder. Like, yeah, Lost Records. I'm definitely digging the vibe of it. It definitely feels like a Don't Nod game of the old origins. Nick, I am going to attempt to do something here that I hope doesn't mess up the stream. It already did. Let's see. I'm going to try to share with you my screen of my Google, if it will let me. There we go. Okay. Boom. Okay. So you will hopefully be able to see this, and I am going to do that, and then let's make sure that we're all good to go, and then, okay. So you can see, it says my stream is paused, but, okay, can you see it now?
Yes, I can see it, yeah.
Okay, so we are going to play our good game now, and you see Persona 5 there. So, chat, this is the part where we play our friendly good game, and what this game is going to be is guess the theme. We had a moment that when it was just me on episode, I want to say episode 2 of season 2, but episode 11, whatever. I had you guys guess some things that the community sent in, but we're going to have Nick and I guess some game themes together because, Nick, you, I thought of doing this with you specifically because when I listen to the Friday Night Gamecast sometimes, you guys like have that transition. Yeah. You like play some random soundtrack or something, and you just like, that was blah, blah, blah from Red Dead Redemption 2 or whatever, you know?
Yeah,
and I'm like,
exactly.
I wonder if he can finally be that guest of mine that's pretty good at guessing music themes. How do you feel?
I'm nervous, but I'm also I'm confident. I'm cautiously confident because I do love myself some video game music. I love my JRPG music, so it's I'm gonna get in the ballpark. I'm pretty sure.
So if you heard the Overcooked theme, would you recognize it?
Oh shit, no, I wouldn't. I
like one of my favorite wins was literally because of that. They're like, "Why is Overcooked in here?" And I'm like, "Exactly."
So if this is gonna be deep cuts, I'm probably gonna be cooked. But if there's something recognizable in there, if I get a suite of something, I'll hit it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, chat. This is our round of guess the theme, and I need to make sure. Nope, don't play this yet. Can you hear that?
I can.
Okay, good. I need to turn it down a smidge though. So that's what it's gonna do. It's gonna give us like a 15-second marker.
Okay.
That we will be able to guess it, and the first one to say it wins. Okay.
All right.
And I'm gonna do something actually.
Let
me make sure. I know. I'm excited for you to do this. This is gonna be fun. I just want the chat to be able to see it. Well, I'll have a way. I got it. I want anybody that's watching YouTube live. I'm just hoping that I can switch it for you to see it. 1 second. I should have did this beforehand. Nick, favorite puzzle game? Go.
Favorite puzzle game probably has to be one of the more recent ones that I played. And it's definitely going to be Chance of Sinar. It's pretty good.
Chance of Sinar?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's awesome. It's an indie game. It's like an indie narrative puzzle kind of adventure. It's really nice. That as well as the bug game where you play as like the little bug guy. I'm trying to remember the title of that game. I just recently talked to my friend Dave Jackson on Tales from the Backlog about it, but yeah, that's a really good one.
I have recently been playing Animal Well. I don't know if you've heard of that.
I platinum that earlier this year. Actually, no, I didn't platinum. I beat it though.
That is a puzzle game up the wazoo for sure. All right, I got it. So here you go, chat. We're gonna start, and Nick, we're gonna see the first two. Chat, what do you say? 3, 4, 5. We'll see how evenly we are, but tentatively 3. But if it's a steamroll, then maybe we'll do 5.
First 3. Okay, gotcha.
The first one
Cocoon
to say it.
Also is the my mother.
Cocoon is fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
Cocoon
I love
is
Cocoon.
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. 3, 2, 1. So this is just so you can hear it. Okay. This is a test
Mario
run.
Party?
Let's. Wait, are you serious?
Wait, is this Mario Kart?
Okay, I'm gonna take this one then.
Super Mario 64.
This is Mario 64. No, I had that. I just didn't say it, but I was like, oh, this is gonna be easy. Is this Mario Kart? Is this?
They probably use this in the Mario Party as well. You know, who's to say? Who's to say where
Maybe,
what game it
but...
was first composed in? No, you're right.
Yeah.
This is Mario 64. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
hand down. All right. One for me. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm gonna say a WWE game.
Tony Hawk.
Yeah!
Get the fuck out of here.
Are you serious?
We did it.
Are you serious?
Let's go. Let's
Are
go.
you for real? Chat, it was
So we're
Tony
1 and
Hawk
1.
Pro Skater 1 and
1
2.
and 1.
What? I like how it was just totally random. Hello, AP and IMDD, whatever. Oh my god. Good job. Good guess. Good guess. Okay. I just want to make sure this is still working, my chat. Oh. That was nuts, Nick. That was nuts. Okay.
Yeah, this is a deep cut.
All right, 1-1. Maybe we do have a good game here.
That's right.
1-5, man. This is fun. Okay. I can't believe we got that. Okay.
Undertale?
F-Zero. F-Zero.
Oh,
I think it's I'm going to say F-Zero.
Oh. It's definitely
It's
like
F-Zero.
a 16-bit. Yeah, it's got.
Oh, it's Punch-Out!
Oh,
It's
Punch-Out.
Punch-Out!
Okay. Oh,
That is
Will's gonna be
Punch-Out.
mad at
That's-
me for missing that one.
Dude.
I never played that game. I never played it.
It doesn't matter, dude. That theme, I've heard that in freaking Smash. How did I...
Yeah.
Oh, god damn it. That was totally Punch-Out. Okay, still 1-1. I was gonna say guess, but I want to wait until I... No. I thought this was a Persona, but I don't think it is.
I was gonna say Persona too. I was like,
You say Persona... I'm gonna say Persona 4? I don't know. No, okay. Oh, okay. Scarlet Nexus.
Okay.
Scarlet Nexus.
Yeah, it's funky. It's funky, so I immediately go to Persona. Yeah, I never played this one either.
I like how Persona just owns that sound now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Without a doubt.
Oh! Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater! Yeah, that's Snake Eater. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. 2 for me, baby. One of the coolest intros, man. Just straight up.
Scarlet Nexus is fun. I'll have to check it out. Maybe grab it on Steam when it's on sale or something like that.
Okay.
Are you hyped for Metal Gear Delta?
Dude, we'll see. I don't know. I want to play it, but
It could be.
there's so
ass.
much.
Who's to say?
It could be ass. It could be
and not in the good, and not in the good snake ballistic ass that we all want, right?
Banjo-Kazooie.
Damn, you're too fast.
Banjo-Kazooie.
Fast with it. Since they're putting all these classic games on here, how am I supposed to know any of this shit?
What do you mean? Are you a 90s kid?
I am a 90s kid. I actually never played Banjo-Kazooie when I was a kid. We actually just talked about this. We have a retro episode that just came out today where we were talking about Generation 5, so the PlayStation and the N64. I had very limited exposure during that time frame. I was just a young lad.
Look, man, whether you played it or not, that theme is iconic.
He's like, you should know.
You should know. We'll do it to 5. Why not? Because so far this is a steamroll, and I'm hoping you actually get one that isn't just the Tony Hawk guess.
That's crazy. That's the wild guess from Tony Hawk.
It's Fall Guys.
Yeah, it is. It's just you're too fast with the Tony. What's going on? What are you already at 5? What is this?
No, that's 4. But
That's 4. Holy shit.
this is why, man. I can't do. I think I don't think.
No competition, Steph. I'm doing my best. Steph.
I'm gonna do. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do for the last one. Okay. If I know it, this is what I usually do. If I get a sense that if there's a pretty big gap, my handicap is like, if I know it, but you can't get it by the end of the 15 seconds, then I'm going to take it
first. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. If you don't know it by the end of the 15 seconds, then I'm going to take it. If I know it.
Okay.
That's how I'm going to get this last point.
Okay.
So here we go, chat.
There's
Will
no
he be
handicap.
able to make
It's
a
okay.
comeback?
Thanks, Steffi.
I got it. You can do it. Is this it?
It's old timey. It's not Fallout.
It's Cuphead, ladies and gentlemen. It's Cuphead.
I never played this game. I don't like hard games.
I don't like hard games.
I don't like hard games.
Like, that's another one again. I haven't played it too much. I just know that freaking piano. That's all. Like, the piano's ridiculous. But
It's
okay,
crazy.
well, that was
you have eidetic musical memory, Tony. How are you with like suites and orchestral music? Like if I play a random song from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth right now, you're gonna be like, of course it's Rebirth.
Well, I probably won't. I'll probably guess Rebirth, but like,
Or you just say Final Fantasy VII.
I probably would. I just probably say like, this sounds like. That's what I do if I don't know it. I'm like, this sounds like this would be in blank, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes that works out, but well,
I was gonna say, what was that last one? I was gonna say, because it's got that old timey feel. I was gonna say Fallout, but I was like, no, it's not Fallout.
I thought that
usually
for a second.
They have licensed music from like the 20s in those games, don't they?
What do you think, chat? Should we give him one more to see if he can get it?
Super Tone, I like hard games. I respect you, Super Tone. You're killing it out there. You know what I mean?
Cuphead's nuts.
Give me one more. Let me see if I can. I just want to see how many are in there.
I just want to see if I can get one.
I just want to know. I just want to know if I can do this.
You can do it.
Oh, this is Pokemon. Wait. No. Oh, this is Link. This is Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, right? Is that the first time that they use this?
You got it. It's Zelda.
Yeah.
It's just the OG Zelda theme. When you said Pokemon, I was like, dude, oh shit.
It's just the original Zelda. Oh no, it's like it sounds reminiscent of the Elite Four. You know the Elite Four 16-bit theme? It sounded like the beginning of it. I'm nervous.
Yeah, a little
I'm nervous.
I'm nervous.
Give me one more.
What's 2 plus 2 again?
We gotta do one more.
What do you mean? You got it.
Keeping you here until I get it right.
You got it though.
No, I messed up. That one doesn't count.
You did. I gave you by the end of it. All right. One more.
Okay.
Do you regret your decision?
I do. I do regret this.
I love it, whatever it is.
Foam Stars? I don't know.
I have no idea. Oh, SSX3.
SSX. That's actually that's cool. That's a cool cut.
This is why, guess the theme. People are always like, one more, but
yeah, Crazy Taxi vibes. Oh, they always want to keep going. I got you.
Yeah, we're gonna end on this.
This.
I think I know, at least. I'm not sure, but I think.
Yeah,
Fire Emblem? No, it's Xenoblade Chronicles. Okay. That is Xenoblade Chronicles. Dang. All right, well.
Are you a big Xeno fan? Are you a big Xenoblade?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. This is something I could do for ages. And at some point, we're just going to have, like, a 4-man panel, and it's just going to be nothing but no news. We're just going to play some good game and just like have a good time, But like that, like, yeah. And Nick, I've had a very good time chatting with you today. We went well over my goal of being an hour to hour and a half show. We definitely talked a while about the Xbox shenanigans, but I don't know. I think it was a deep topic, and just I love chit-chatting with you, and you need to be on my squad for the finals or Fall Guys or something. I don't know.
We got to do it. We need a gaming community night for sure.
We do, man. I'm going to do that this weekend with the patrons. Like I do a thing with them the last Sunday of every month where we play something together, and it's so much fun. Plug into that if anybody feels like supporting. But Nick, thank you very much for being here today. And
thank you for having me.
Would you like to say anything to the chat before you go?
Just want to say that chat's lovely. I see that Creature Transylvania is, casting. He's disparaging my good friend Tony, talking about all he knows is Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy. I don't think that's all he knows. He knows a lot.
Hey, that's true.
But yeah, no, Tony, like, you've been great, and obviously an incredible friend to me, and obviously somebody that I love just being with in like this content creation space. So I think you're doing amazing work right now. But yeah, no, if anybody in the chat right now is interested in long form discussion podcasts that are kind of sit back club style, check out the Friday Night Gamecast. We're on all podcasting platforms.
Yeah. And I appreciate everybody that watched today. I hope you had a good time, and I hope you have a lovely weekend. I'm be very curious what we do next week, because next week, FYI, I will be at PAX West. So
nice.
I'm actually going to see if I can make it back here in time for Codename Goodgame. We might have a 30-minute late start, maybe an hour late start. We'll see. So stay tuned to social media, and I look forward to talking with you guys about hopefully just a normal week next week, because this week was an absolute fun one. But when it's a slow week, we can have just more whatever topics. Who will we have? At them on Twitter. At whoever you would like on the show on Twitter, or if you'd like to do a solo show next week, let me know. I'm listening to your feedback all the time. Thank you to Paragon, Steffi, Supertone, Creature, Ghostbuster, and everybody else that watched today. I really appreciate you guys, and have a lovely weekend. Don't forget to be geeky, rabby, awesome, and it's never too late to speculate. Peace.
See ya.